Welcome to the Network Marketing Made Simple podcast. I am your host, Scott Aaron, and each and every week I'm going to come to you with short, simple, and powerful tactics of how you can grow your network marketing business, brand, bank account, and impact on those around you. And just remember, network marketing is not easy, but it can be made easy with simple steps to create the success that you truly deserve. So Jake, welcome to today's episode. And what I love about these types of episodes, and these are pod swaps, I love connecting with other podcasters because, there's something, and I've said this in previous episodes, there's something very sacred and something very special about doing a podcast. And I'll go back to what one of my friends, Emily Goff, said, and she was on a previous episode, and she teaches podcasting, is that it's such an amazing experience because you're talking into someone's ears and into their minds. And it's a very, very special experience. And when you and I connected on LinkedIn, it was an instant connection. We both saw that we had podcasts. We hopped on a call right away, and we realized that we definitely had some familiarity in what we both do. And we had a lot of symbiotic relationship, and we felt it would be a good idea to introduce and share each other with our audiences. And for those that aren't familiar with you, Jake, if you could just take a few minutes and introduce yourself to my network and how you got to where you are right now. So obviously you're an up-and-coming podcaster. You have a lot of great guests lined up, but that wasn't always the case. Obviously, you're now stepping into entrepreneurship. So what was the journey for you, and what was that light bulb moment that you had turned on to as far as entrepreneurship, where that spark was lit and it hasn't gone out?
Yeah, great question, man. It's great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, man. So, I'm taking the cringe out of being a phone-based sales professional. Really believe, and this is my mission, and it's the mission behind the podcast, is compassion before commission, to really genuinely care about solving somebody else's pain before you get the commission check. It's not that you're not going to get that commission check. You're going to get that back, but before you're good, changing that mindset to actually have compassion before commission. And so that's the journey that I'm on right now, is really just curing commission breath. And so with the content that I produce on LinkedIn and in the podcast, and the type of guests that I bring on, it's people that practice gratitude. Gratitude is a seed for more. And so that's more kind of lined up to that aha moment whenever I decided, from being a want-entrepreneur to an entrepreneur. Man, a lot of sacrifices have been made in the process of having moved from Kentucky, outside the comfort zone. I was a Kentucky kid. Now I'm out here in California dreaming, and so I'm out here in like what I call the mecca of podcasting, and I'm able to go sit down face to face and go to an office with somebody like David Meltzer and interview him for my podcast, where I was once an underground coal miner, right? And that's where I really learned hard work and discipline to be a successful entrepreneur. But yeah, man, it's a lot of stuff that we can dive into today, man. I'm looking forward to it.
So what was the big, obviously I love your journey going from Kentucky, and we talked about this on our pre-call, just moving out to California, and you're also a father. So what was the big moment for you where you're like, you know what, Kentucky has served its purpose, but there are
Yeah.
bigger and better things out west for me. So take us through that moment and the decision behind that.
Yeah. So yeah, man, definitely, all about the family, man. So I have a son that inherited when he was 5. He's now 18. And to see him get outside his comfort zone out here, and we live in Calabasas. He goes to Calabasas High. And actually just last night, he did the Shrek musical play. He wants to be like set builder, stuff like that. Stuff like that you can't do in Kentucky, man. If you can't do it like in the spirit of excellence and really be around people that are doing it and have been doing it and successful doing it. And that became true in my own life, where to surround myself around people like you, or people that that have this like-minded, like, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be successful, personal development. I was pretty much that guy back at home, where I was the one creating opportunities for people to, try to change their life. And I just kept pouring out, but I had nobody to pour back into me. And I believe giving is from the overflow of deposits that are made in your own life. And so I really needed to surround myself around other successful entrepreneurs. And that's what, my son wanted to do, this film school type stuff. And then I got a little girl who will be 3 next month, and she's just adorable as she can be. And my wife wants to be a momager. Everything just began to make sense and line up for us to, move out west. Not that, forget Kentucky in me. Still got Kentucky in me, the country, the South, because we live on the Tennessee-Kentucky border. So when we go home to visit, we fly into Nashville, and, it's that whole experience of the South. Definitely, if you ever have an opportunity to experience that, the Southern hospitality, I really feel like, we're bringing our Southern charm to the wild, wild West,
No, I love that. And you kind of have to go through life and grow through life. And something that you and I completely resonated on and with was gratitude. So let's focus on gratitude for a second, because you know everyone focuses, and in the social media age that we're in right now, and the I call it the social image age, because everyone sees the houses and the cars and
hmm
the fans of money and all of this stuff, and sometimes taking a step back and just being grateful for the air that you breathe and the roof that you have over the head and the gas in your car so you can go from point A to point B. Gratitude, it really truly is the catalyst for so much more. So
hmm
obviously you latched on to gratitude when you were going through your growth journey. So what was it about gratitude that really pushed you forward, and how essential is being grateful every single day for that entrepreneur that's listening to this that wants to get to the next level?
Oh man, yeah. I said it was gratitude is a seed for more, to like truly be grateful for the journey, for the struggles, and understand that it's all about building the character in those struggles too, and being grateful for the lessons learned and the mistakes that you made. I'm 33 and I got a head full of gray. My beard's all gray, you know, and I say, like, the gray is from the mistakes that I've made, that I've learned from. So, being grateful through this journey, um, it's it's so important to growth. I mean, gratitude, C for more equals growth. But how do you become a practitioner of gratitude? It's a discipline too, man. Like, I had just recently, I put these alarm clocks. Like, I feel like my gratitude, I can do more gratitude. So I've got like 4 alarm clocks that go off throughout the day. One's at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m. throughout the day. Gratitude, just the alarm clocks going off. So I stop whatever I'm doing. Like, if you're spiritual, thank you, God, for the day. Or you go to your wife, say, I really appreciate you, what you did, you fold the clothes, I really appreciate that. Or, like, going and just showing that gratitude. And here's a good example of being a practitioner of gratitude. Yesterday, we actually had to reschedule our pod swap, right? Because I had to pull over, I had to change a flat tire. And it just, you know, I had pulled over, and I pulled over in front of a like in the residential area, right? So I parked on the curb in a residential area. I'm putting the spare on, and his sprinkler system goes off, bro. And I'm so drenched, and I got water all over me, man. And then lo and behold, like, the owner of this house gets out, and type of car is irrelevant to the message, but just to really let you know, my experience in having practiced gratitude is, he goes in his Tesla, he's sipping on his coffee, and he drives off. Doesn't chunk up a do sign or anything. It just rolls out of his driveway. He could have turned off his sprinkler system. He could have, asked me that I need help changing the tire. He could have, should have, would have done all these things. But fortunately, because I practice gratitude and empathy, I believe, go hand in hand. And so, having been empathetic. Like maybe he's got to go to work and provide for his family. Maybe he's late for work. Not that he was just being a jerk face, not reaching out to help me. But since I practiced gratitude, I didn't throw a rock at his window. You know what I mean? Like that was a jerk move. But but at the same time, because I was practicing gratitude, I was on the way taking my son to school after he voted for the first time, which to me is like, my son is 18, he's mixed. I'm white, my wife is black. So like, and I had to, my son was like, well, these old geezers are trying to tell me what to do and how to vote and stuff like that. And like, take a second back, take a look back at this. Like, let's really put this in perspective, man. Because I'm all about practicing gratitude. It's like, you don't know what your ancestors have been through. You're half black. Be proud of that. Be grateful for the opportunity that you're 18, that you can go and vote. There's a lot of people that lost their lives to be able to vote. And, and nothing happened to us when we got the flat tire. It's all about perspective and being grateful for it. And I was able to get him an Uber and got to school on time. And I went out, bought new tires for my car. It's gratitude. And then right after it all happened, man, my gratitude alarm clock went off. And I was able to reschedule a podcast with you, bro. It's like, just be grateful.
I think that's sometimes a very, just an underappreciated, it's all those little things. There's so many little things that that happen to us, and we're like, why me, and you realize that everything's a lesson. And being in sales, whether it's network marketing or your own your own entrepreneurial endeavor, it all takes the same shape, but it also requires the same things. It's just one of those things where you have to stay in the game long enough to learn the lessons necessary to really achieve the goals that you want. And there are so many people that listen to this that they're thinking about quitting their entrepreneurial journey right now. And there might be something that they hear in this episode that says, you know what, I'm going to keep going. So Jake, I'm a big believer in vulnerability is one of the greatest strengths that we all possess. What do you feel in your journey was the most vulnerable moment for you, where the greatest lesson was learned?
Oh man. Yeah. So I had to, for me, intentionally wanted to open up my wife's baby boutique, which was her dream, before I would go and open up my business, which was a call center, which was my dream. So because I wanted to open up this call center so bad, I really forced her dream on her, and she wasn't ready. We just had a baby. We think, well, you could just bring the baby to the baby boutique, and, what better way to really put together your entrepreneurial journey. Like, we're in our small town, we're a power couple, and I'm thinking, all these things. And man, I really lost a lot, but I don't focus on what I lost. Like, I almost lost my marriage because of it. We actually got legally separated. So talk about vulnerability. I don't know that I really shared this on, I've been on a lot of podcasts. I know that I really shared it, but because I wanted it so bad for me, but I told myself I can't go do that until I did that for her. I forced it on her. And that was a huge mistake. Like, we should have really, because I was making so much money doing this final expense, life insurance, telesales and stuff. And I was like, well, I had the money. I can just, this is just, it's tax write off. It's kind of like almost a charity, because, when you first start off, especially a boutique, I mean, it's a lot of money. It was her dream. And man, it lasted, I don't know, it takes me back to a really dark moment in my life. But, um, you know, here we are, uh, after about a year, all the lessons that we learned through that, how to really take our time and go about starting up a business. We have a clothing line, Compassion Before Commission. My wife's helping with the Shopify store and all this stuff. And really, when you're like anybody that's entrepreneur that's married, when you figure out, and I know you just got engaged or something like that, right, Scott?
Yeah,
So
we're getting married in a few months. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you know what I'm talking about. When you realize that you're on the same team, that's where there'll be fewer divorces, right? So that's what, and it's a work in progress. We're still working on it. But I mean, we had to close down the boutique. We had to close down the call center. We lost our house, all that stuff, man. So, you know, but there's it's what I call um it's not a pitfall, it's just a pit stop, right? So anybody that's listening to this, there's power in that pit stop. If you just stop for a second, don't quit, but just look at all the lessons that you can learn and what you can learn from that, or listening to me and the mistakes that I made. And if somebody's not ready to do something, don't force it. It's like you got to be able to be prepared, because victory loves preparation. You got to be prepared, and also understand that winter is coming too, and be prepared for that, because there was chargebacks that started hitting from the policies that my agents and I were writing, and then people were returning stuff and stuff like that. I mean, that you got to be ready for winter, because it is coming. And if there's anything that anybody could take from this is that.
You there, Jake?
Yeah, yeah,
I think it cut out for a second.
yeah. But yeah, man, that was that moment where, we were ready to quit. I mean, we lost everything, but through that experience, that's where doors started opening up, where we decided not to quit, and continue to work on our marriage, continue to work with each other, realize we're on the same team. And so we're out here, moved from Kentucky after we lost those businesses and everything, and now here we are.
Yeah, I can completely relate. I've made millions, I've lost millions, I've had to file for bankruptcy, I've lost a house. I've been married and divorced twice. So there's a lot of ups and downs in life, but those things do make you stronger, and they're all lessons to learn bigger and better things in life. And first, I just want to honor you, and I appreciate your vulnerability, because what I've learned in entrepreneurship and life in general, everyone thinks they're alone. Everyone thinks that they're the only one going through losing a business. They're the only one that's losing their house. They're the only one that's losing money or
Mm,
is having marital problems. Everyone thinks they're on this island by themselves, and that's not the
mm,
case. That's why
yeah.
it's so important for people to tell their stories, to let people know, no, you're not alone. Yes, it's okay. And things will get better if you change that story. So, what would you say is the greatest change? Because obviously there's been all these things that have been going on and, moving out west. What was the biggest veer in your journey that you took, that one change, that one decision that you made that compounded everything that's happening now?
Yeah, man. It's working on my character. Like, that's where, just focusing on how can I be a better version of myself? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father, be more present? Because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm never going to regret the time that I spend with my family. Um, you know, so that, to me, that aha moment of having almost lost it all, and my daughter wondering when was daddy coming back home, because daddy was, really working on daddy. You know what I mean? So that daddy could come back and be a whole, so she could have all of daddy, and daddy is happy, because our kids deserve to see us happy. And whenever I stop chasing money, here's what really, chasing the commission checks and chasing money and chasing success. When I decided that I was going to pursue my potential, that right there, man. But to really understand my potential was to work on my character and become a better version of myself. And it's an ongoing process. But, to stop waiting for things to happen so that I'll be happy. Here, example, one of my buddies back at home in Kentucky, he made a post on Facebook yesterday. He said, when my dog dies, then I'm going to move out of Kentucky. When this or that happens, then I'm going to do that. If you're waiting for the right moment to be happy, that right moment's never going to happen. It's when I change this situation, I'll be then I'm gonna be happy. It's like I can be happy, and when I'm happy, things will change. Is what I'm trying to say. When I'm happy, my situation's gonna be different. Things are gonna change. I'm not waiting for the right moment for things to change. I'm happy, and things change.
The big thing is that you need to be the change. You can't wait for change to happen. That's the old saying goes, change nothing and nothing changes. Change something, something changes. And it's really up to that person. It's their decision, it's their choice. So tell everyone a little bit about what's going on now, because you do have a great podcast, which I'm going to put in the show notes. It's called All Things Telesales. So tell us a little bit about what spurred the podcast, what the story is behind it, and what can people expect listening and tuning into the podcast.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. So the podcast, it's for anybody that's a phone professional. If you receive a lot of phone calls, or if you're struggling, you have call reluctancy, and you're having challenges with facing that fear and picking up the phone and making the calls like you feel like you should, especially for your audience, network marketing. You're afraid somebody's going to ghost you. You're afraid this or that. We really get down to the root of it on the podcast. I bring on some really top-notch guests that come in, share their expertise, and we all have this mindset. Like I said earlier in the show, is compassion before commission. That's the mission statement, and just really want to change the overall perception of phone-based sales. And the overall stigma that it gets is like people think about robocalls, telemarketing, all these different things, but that's not the reality. There are people out there that really genuinely care more about the person than the product. So we really believe in people over product. And so it's those types of people that come on and share on their journey.
So what would you say is the best piece of advice that you can give a network marketer right now that is afraid of getting on the phone with new people, for being ghosted and hearing the word no? What's the best piece of advice you can give that person that's listening to this right now?
Right. I mean, no leads to yes, but also point the finger inwardly. And I believe in extreme ownership, and always improving yourself in your process. So if you're struggling right now, you know, take a step back and and get down to the root of it. And if it's somebody's ghosting you, well, I mean, we can really dive into that. You have to just part of the point of the finger inwardly is, were they ever a good fit to begin with? And pre-call preparation is really important. We talk a lot about that. Dial for dialogue, don't dial for dollars. Have something in line. Like Crystal Knows is a good tool and resource that people could use, especially on LinkedIn. I know you teach a lot about LinkedIn, and that helps really set the tone for a meeting. When you go reach out to somebody for a phone call or email, you want to ask yourself, what's the purpose of this call? What do I know? What do I need to know? And what do I need to get them to admit? And why is the reason we're going to be on the call important to the prospect, to the person that I want to bring into my network marketing? Why might this be important? And always, so a lot of people are afraid to get ghosted, but one of the main reasons why they're getting ghosted, and this is part of the extreme ownership, you have to ask yourself, am I securing the next step, date, and time? Right? Like, did I make sure that I'm on Scott's calendar? Did I make sure that he accepted that calendar? While I have you on the phone, Scott, go ahead and accept that calendar invite. And outside of a zombie apocalypse, is there any other reason why you might not make our meeting today? Add some humor in there too. A lot of people are afraid to let loose, and they're really tense. But just Smile so big your ears get wet. Try to make the person on the other end of the line, make it about them, make their day. A lot of salespeople, they're trying to make, the salesperson's trying to make their day, but you can make your day by making your prospect's day, right? So, make it about the prospect, and always give your best price the first time. As one of the mistakes that I learned before was, trying to leave that room for margin, and then I could work my way back down. But always give your, because that's a credibility issue. And then there's ways to get people to unghost you. Chris Voss, I don't have you read his book, Never Split the Difference?
I have not, but we can put the link in the show notes.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got one little tip out of that whole book. If you take anything from the book, there's email or a text that you could send somebody if they're ghosting you, is have you given up on? And then oftentimes people aren't necessarily ghosting us. I actually had one prospect that his mom had died and he had to go out of the country to bury his mom. And that's why I couldn't get a hold of him. He was international and he was dealing with some real life stuff. So a lot of times people aren't necessarily ghosting us, and we get in our mind that we think that they are. Sometimes we have to just pipe down and leave them in our pipeline. And be patient in the process, trust the process, don't rush the process.
No, I love that. So Jake, as we wind down, before I get to my final question, how can people get in touch with you on social, and what's the best way they can connect with you?
Yeah. So, we have compassionbeforecommission.com, jakelyn.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. Love to hear from you. Definitely a big believer in LinkedIn for sure.
Awesome. And for everyone that's listening, all of that information will be in the show notes so you can connect with Jake, and also check out that book that he mentioned and his incredible podcast. So Jake, final question before we get off the air today. What does success truly mean to you?
Yeah, man. Success means to me, man, family, legacy, just being able to spend time with my family, have that financial freedom to be able to enjoy spending time with my family without having to worry about where that next commission check's coming from. That to me is success, baby.
I love that. Again, success means something different for each person. There is no right answer. And Jake, I just wanted to thank you first again for being so vulnerable and open with your story. I know it's going to inspire and motivate so many people. And second, just thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here and blessing my audience with your knowledge and your inspiration, and obviously the tools that they can obviously utilize to move themselves forward. So thank you so much for being here today.
I appreciate you, Scott. Looking forward to having you on my podcast too, brother.
Absolutely looking forward to it. So guys, again, all the information of how to connect with Jake, listen to his podcast, and obviously connect with him will be in the show notes. So again, thank you so much for joining today. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you again so much for checking out this week's episode. And if you can, head over to iTunes, search for Network Marketing Made Simple, leave me a 5-star rating, basic review. I would be grateful for all of the support you guys can give me. And again, if you'd be interested in learning more how to utilize LinkedIn to grow your business, your brand, and your bank account, head over to my website, www.scottaaron.net. Fill out the form for your free 15-minute discovery call so I can learn more about you, your business, and how we can work together. And again, thank you guys so much. Grateful for you all, and I'll see you next time.